The Game Boy Color was an extraordinary piece of hardware. It was like the cell phone of 5-year-old Luis. You could always expect me to have this thing in my pocket wherever I went. The Game Boy Color was a successor to the Game Boy Pocket, and this thing was a beast for its time. But looking back at it now, you'd be surprised at these tech specs. This thing ran off a Zilong Z80 processor running at 8 MHz. The resolution of the screen was 160 by 144. Talk about 0.1K resolution here. This thing packed 32 kilobytes of RAM with 16 kilobytes of video RAM. Powering this device are two AA batteries. Sadly, no lithium batteries here. So yes, they die much faster, and even that, you have to pay for new batteries every time this thing dies, which was a pain in the butt. But it could be worse. You could be playing a Game Gear. But that's a whole other video. When the Game Boy Color originally launched, you could find it at retailers for about $69.99 to $79.99. It really depends where you bought it. Cartridges, on the other hand, were about $19.99 to $39.99, around that price range. Each of these cartridges had about a 4 to 8 megabyte capacity. That's about the size of your average PlayStation 2 memory card. Who remembers those? And sure, nowadays these things are pretty low tech. Well, actually extremely low tech. And you can even play these games on your 3DS nowadays. But even then, nothing beats the awesome feeling of just popping in a game cartridge into a Game Boy and playing it, even if you're trying to fight for a light source so you can actually see what's going on the screen. I asked some of you guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram what were your fondest memories of the Game Boy Color. Carlos says he remembers trading in Mario Party and Mario Kart 64 for his Game Boy Color, and it was the best decision he's ever made. A great decision. And then Malik said that he wished he had a Pikachu Edition Game Boy Color. I'm 18 years old and I still wish I had that, so right on, man. If you guys want to be featured in the next video like this, you guys can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and whenever I'm working on the next video, I'll ask for questions or responses, and you might be in the next video. One specific memory I have of the Game Boy Color is all the crazy and fun kooky commercials that were on TV when I was a kid. More specifically, I remember when I used to have Pokemon on VHS, at the end of every episode would be like a Pokemon Yellow commercial where they were all in a bus and suddenly there's like a trash compactor and it creates a Pokemon Yellow cartridge, and I thought that was just the most amazing thing, and I had that entire commercial memorized by heart now. The Game Boy Color is something really close to my heart. It was one of my first introductions to video games as a kid, and it sort of helped shape the person I am today. Now I just talk about video games and play a lot of video games on the internet, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It pretty much introduced me to video games, and I'm glad it did. I've always told myself I'll keep playing video games until the day comes where I physically am incapable of holding a controller up, and hopefully that day doesn't come anytime soon. I hope you guys enjoyed this video looking back at the Nintendo Game Boy Color. It's a series I kind of want to start doing now, looking back at retro video game history, and not even just like technology wise, but characters and series itself. I know a lot of you guys were fans of Beta Zone. I'm going to bring that back soon. I just need more time to work on more videos. I'm currently on vacation right now from college, so I'm using the time now to work on more content while I do have the free time. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video on the Game Boy Color. It definitely is and was, as a child, one of my favorite just things to use and play all the time. I played countless hours of Pokemon Yellow on this thing and Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. And this is the same one I owned back when I was a child, so still the classic old see-through model. Sadly, all the stuff on the back is gone, but at least I have the battery cover, which is rare, I guess, nowadays. But there it is. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I do have one video recommendation. It is how to replace the lens on your Game Boy Color. So if you're like me, when you had a Game Boy since you were a little kid, the screen protector on the front of the screen is going to be scratched up. It's actually a pretty easy fix, so check out that video if you want to. And thank you guys very much for watching. If you guys liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. If you want to help me out, share the video with your friends and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all very much for watching the video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Later. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the second entry in our series. Today we'll be looking at the top 5 games you should own if you own a PlayStation Vita. So the first game on my list is called Gravity Rush. The screen's a little scratched up. You know, the insides are a little bit dusty, dirty, so I decided to make a little restoration video series of the Game Boy Color. So the topic we'll be talking about today is replacing the lens of your Game Boy Color. If you don't know what the lens is the plastic little cover